Hi, I'm Kelly Forshaw-Smith, Head Medical Trainer for the Finishing Touches Group and Director and Technician for Medicos London. Today we have the honour of having
Casey White.
He's joining us, and his topic today is going to be on all about scars. So Casey started his career in 2013. He has a degree in art and in medicine. Casey has a background in physiotherapy also. He joined the micropigmentation industry as he really wanted to be part of the Areola Tattooing. He felt with an art background and a medical knowledge, it was going to be the perfect fit. He later became a trainer as he felt there wasn't enough education available, and he started his own training school. Casey is based in California, San Diego, and his passion is microneedling and all things areola. He also works with a number of plastic surgeons. Casey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Kelly, thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this day, and I really appreciate you reaching out to me. This is great.
So your subject today is the medical micropigmentation. How can I improve a scar? So Casey, first of all, tell us a little bit, what is medical micropigmentation for anyone out there who hasn't done it before?
Well, medical micropigmentation, in my point of view, is the ability to manage a scar, hide a scar, and live with that scar. Meaning, the scar has certain immobilities to it. Like, let's say in the face, if you smile, it may alter the way you smile or look with the scar, So with medical micropigmentation, there's several different ways to approach it, whether it's microneedling, massage, certain stretches. So I think with my background, I have a good take on that.
Yeah, definitely. What's the first thing that you do when a patient walks in with a scar?
Well, first and foremost, I think for any of us in this industry is to get a good, firm medical past history, where the scar's from, what happened to it, and any medical procedures that preceded it, and how it affects their life. And then lastly, what is their what is their outcome? What do they want their outcome to be? Because you don't want to give them so much this is going to be the outcome, but you got to be realistic with their outcome, and they have to understand that as well. So first base that all down, and then we kind of get to work.
Yeah, I guess obviously it's the empathy side. Like sometimes, obviously, I do the medical as well over in England. You're over in America, which is so nice to be able to chat to somebody about something that we're both so passionate about. But with all the patients that come in, I guess it's the empathy, understanding what they've gone through, and just being patient with somebody.
Yes, yes. And having that good bedside manners, as I'm sure we do, because not only is the scar on the outside, but imagine what it is on the inside.
Yeah, I quite often say when I do the needling is you're healing from within.
Yes, absolutely.
I like that. I like that a lot. Also, I know that you mentioned.
That down?
You can write that down. You can quote me on that. Kelly says. Also, I know that you do quite a lot with them understanding the process of radiation as well. And what it does to the skin cell. What you're saying is that you're bringing your medical knowledge in. You've got to understand the canvas and the areas that you're working on. Tell me a bit about the radiation, the radiation mark of what your understanding is.
Well, from my understanding, again, and I know since we are working in science-based medicine here and medical, it's always changing. We're always finding out new information almost daily. But with radiated skin, it destroys skin cells. Yeah. And skin cells do not regenerate. I mean, there are certain products out on the market that can help, increase the skin cell production. But, when we tattoo, the ink goes into skin cells. And when there's no skin cells, where does the ink sit?
Yeah. Where does it go?
Just free floats. So the white, the white blood cells come and attack, the ink, and then it disperses. And a lot of areola clients don't have a lymphatic tissue. They don't have lymph nodes. So it just free radicates and it just disperses into the skin. Wow. So before I even touch anyone with radiated skin, I like to, first get a doctor's note and then have the client understand the process of the tattooing, because sometimes it takes 2, 3, maybe even 4 sessions for that ink to finally settle.
Yeah, because I know with your I know we're talking about scars, but we're just quickly going to go. I know that you do your areola work, which is incredible, may I add. I know that you do like a layering process. Tell us quickly about that.
Yeah, real quick. Like it's, I like to choose 4 or 5 different color palettes. And I also use the skin as one of the color palettes. And I just kind of layer it down so that the colors can marry together. You know, and it has that mottled look where, you know, you may have like a light brown and then a medium tone brown and then a tertiary brown. So it all kind of meshes together versus a packed in color like a tattoo or anything like that. Because if you do look at an areola closely, there are several different colors. There's purples in it, there's greens, you know, depending on the person's, you know, nationality, where their makeup is. So,
and also an areola, also you want it to be able to change it, you want to be able to add to it, you want it to fade in different ways, and so you want it to pick up on all of those different colors that you're kind of mosaicing into the skin.
Right. And if this may segue into a cute little story, and I'll make it brief. So I did an areola on a gal. She was in her 50s. She had children in middle school and married and everything. So I do her perfect, nice little areola. They come back for the touch-up, and the husband was accompanying her. And he said to me, "Could you put a little mileage on the areola?" Meaning, she's given birth. She's a grown woman. We don't need it to look like a Barbie areola. Let's put some mileage on it, make it a little bit, you know. So by layering it and doing the process I do, I was able to do that without trying to reinvent the wheel. Little tweak here, little tweak there, and it was just exactly what they both wanted. You know, because
I would have turned around if it was in front of me and said, "Do you think you could do him and some 4 areolas and make him into a cat?"
Right.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Like things like you know, the creases that you get in an areola when somebody is older. Everybody, and also an areola in general, because your skin goes more translucent, transparent. You know, you become cooler in skin tone. These are all things, obviously, with any of the tattooing. So the skin camouflage. Do you do skin camouflage yourself for a scar?
You know, I've touched on it. I know that briefly we expressed some ideas on skin camouflage. And you know, I had the chance to work with David Hoffer, and he does the SMP. Yeah, absolutely. But he and I have worked together a few on some scars, and with Shelly Todd in San Diego. But we felt if you get your hands on a scar, break down some of the collagen bonds, stretch it out, because the scalp is also considered areolar tissue. Areolar tissue.
I never knew that.
Yeah, areolar tissue means that it moves, you know, so the scalp, and it kind of moves, you know, and when it's cold, the scalp will react, you know, so it has the same similarities as an areola would. So we found if you get your hands on it and just manipulate it, it becomes a better canvas to tattoo on. And it releases some pressures and kind of creates a softer canvas to tattoo on.
Is that just massage, or is that needling and then massage?
Both. So I usually start with a massage because I want to touch it. You know, I want to feel it because especially with the scalp, you know, you have 3 or 4 different layers than you do on the skin, than you do on the scalp. So it's more condensed skin. So that scar is going to be a little bit firmer, a little stiffer. So I start with the massage, I skin needle it, and when I skin needle a scar, I attack it at several different angles, not just vertically, horizontally, you know, and then you can pick up the scar and you manipulate it, and then I massage it again.
Okay. Do you use a solution when you do that, or a massage cream or anything?
We do. There's a product, and it's, from what I understand, very popular in the UK, and it's called Rejuvi.
Rejuvi?
Yeah. So,
really?
Yes, I will tell you about it.
Okay.
So it's the chemist and doctor is in northern San Francisco, California. He doesn't spend a lot of money on advertising, so a lot of people are kind of like, Rejuvi, I've never heard of it. What does it do? But he uses all natural, I hate to use the word chemicals, but all natural product in his serums. Okay. You know, he uses a lot of licorice root. you know, and just natural products, but it helps break down some of those collagen bonds.
Okay, I
So
think we'll double check what it is, because I know that Rejuve in England, from my knowledge, is a removal product.
yes, but they also have a scar solution.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's not Rejuve that you would use to remove a tattoo.
No,
It's Rejuve product that they use.
same company,
Okay.
different product.
And they're all natural, and you massage. Can you use, like, obviously it's good to use the creams and the serums that your technician recommends, but can you use anything natural to massage?
I use like a coconut oil or coconut butter. I've used tea tree, kiwi, emu oil. I mean, and again, going back to Dave Hoffer, he and I were working on a patient at one point, and we were taking turns rubbing it because our thumbs were getting tired. and we found that scar on his client's scalp was flattening out. We didn't even have to touch it with a needle. Yeah, so we sent him home and gave him some instruction to massage it himself. He came back several weeks later, and that scar looked great, and we didn't even have to touch a needle.
Fantastic. And would you recommend, how far before you treat someone would you recommend them to maybe massage the area?
That's a good question. When patients do come in, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks out, I start having them touch it, because a lot of people, they'll touch it, but they won't manipulate it.
Yeah.
So then at like 2 or 3 weeks, I have them do it. And then upon their surprise, they're like, wow, it feels better. It looks better.
Yeah.
And to me, it's sad that in the medical community, they weren't given this information.
Do you know what it is? I've got a theory with this, which is so nice that we can chat, I think when they first, in general, when a patient first gets given the diagnosis into having a mastectomy in particular, or they're having an operation for whatever the accident might be, their main focus is on obviously getting well, staying alive, feeling, you know, and they focus more on that. So they probably are giving it. Well, I know that the ones from my surgeons are giving it, but it's the last thing on their mind. So I always say to a patient as well, it's time to focus on that scar. And now it's time to really, like you said, with the massage and the, you know, looking after it or watching it, and they're giving that time and that energy to that particular scar that bothers them. And that's why I think it flattens down.
No, that's a very good point. And that's been in my thought as well. So when they do come in, it's not like, what, they didn't tell you that? We just now, as two medical professionals, we know what they may have gone through. Yeah. So we just pick it up. But, you know, that doesn't mean that the medical community can't see this and recognize it and maybe do a follow-up. Okay, now that you're on your healing process, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I think
I did a conference in front of surgeons, the Royal College of Surgeons. It was quite nerve-wracking, actually. There's me on a stage with all the surgeons. I was like, yeah, I don't think this is my crowd. And when I did it, they were like putting all their hands up, and you had people like, where's the proof that this all of the needling works, and where's the proof? And I was like, the proof's in the pudding, like, so to speak. It's what you can see. I can show them hundreds. Obviously, I've been doing it for a long time as well. I can show them hundreds of before and afters. But they want, some people, they want medical notes. They want to see, like, on every skin tone. It's almost impossible to do that. That leads me on to my next question, actually, while I remember. Are there any scars that you don't treat?
Well, the general rule for all of us is the hypertrophic, keloid, you know, kind of thing. But I'm the type of clinician that says, if you have a keloid, I just come in, I want to see it. Yeah. Because, okay, maybe I don't want to put a needle into it, but maybe I can manipulate it some other way. Yeah. And maybe I can manipulate or run the periphery of it. And let's see what it's going to do in that sense. Yeah. You know, but, you know, and again, being realistic, you know, and getting a good background history of these people. Do you always keloid? Yes. So, you know, it raises a red flag. Yeah. But it's, to me, it's kind of like, sorry, there's nothing we do, that doesn't sit well. Yeah. No, 100%. Do you ever use, so say, for example, you've manipulated it, but it's still red and angry looking, and you're thinking, oh, microneedling, yeah, so it might trigger it, you know, to be a bit more hyperpigmented. Do you ever recommend a range for camouflage, maybe? Camouflage makeup, as in normal makeup? We do, but to me, it's a step process. we also like to recommend, and we do use LED lights.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, this is fascinating because there's no, again, the data doesn't really support it,
Yeah.
but the outcomes are there.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer of what I see, not what I read. You know, and then there's a couple colors. You know, you have your red, you have your blues, you have your greens, and you have the mixture of the two. We've found our most success in the red LED, which, you know, it helps improve the collagen production, which we all know in microskin needling, that's the main ingredient in healing, you know, elastin and collagen and all the other, you know, chemicals that are released in that. But the thing with LED light, for it to do its proper job, you need 4 treatments a week at 20 minutes. Yeah, so we do our initial one whenever they come in, and it stimulates things, but is it doing its exact job? Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe,
You know,
but
but
combination.
yes, yeah. So, you know, if they come in for 6 weeks for a touch-up, which we don't really recommend, we'll do the LED light again. And Shelly and I have been kind of reviewing our LED light protocols, and we're like, why don't we start having them come back in 3 weeks and do an LED light? But again, where's our data to prove this? And I feel but I feel the consumer nowadays is a little bit smarter than the consumer in the past. So they want to see the proof is in the pudding, show them pictures.
Yeah.
You know, and I think too is like, I won't sell anything unless I believe in it.
Yeah.
So if our clients are like, well, gosh, they're very passionate about it, then they will probably follow up.
No, I'm exactly the same. What techniques do you use when you do your skin needling?
I do a lot of just kind of stippling, you know, stamping. And again, I would say most of it is manual manipulation.
Yeah.
Where I do, like, let's say if the scar is kind of horizontally, I'll do a lot of cross friction, elongating the scar, circular motions. But the main thing with scars, you know, you want to bring fresh blood to the area, break it down. And this is another question that we've always kind of struggled with. Does scar tissue have memory?
Right.
Meaning, when you break it down, is it going to re-scar? Is it going to dissipate? I mean, it's a debatable subject, scars, for sure.
Very
you know,
good. So it doesn't turn around and go, I remember you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what you mean now.
Yeah, it reacts.
Oh, fantastic.
But it's very interesting when you can put your hand on a scar, you know, and if you're in tune with skin and its structure, it talks to you.
Yeah, I know.
And that's a lot of things I relay to my students, even when you're tattooing. You know, the skin will talk to you. It will tell you what it needs, where to go, when to stop. You know, you just have, it's a visual stimulation and it's a memory stimulation.
Okay, so a little bit hippie-ish, but I don't know the same. But do you think that, like, when I treat somebody, I do this, like, willing it to go down and willing it, and I think, right, it's going to happen, and then I'm quite passionate about, like, powerful mind and positive mind, and I try and put that onto the patient. I know, obviously, you know, you're not giving them a false hope, but you're like, you know, just have positive thinking, and now we're going to massage it, and now we're going to do something about it, and then hopefully it will flatten down or improve.
Right. Well, here in San Diego, California, we're all about, you know, natural, hippie, surfing, beach life. So there is an element to that. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman, his name is Franco Vescovi.
Yes.
And he's the Bishop tattoo guy.
Yep.
Right. And he has made several comments, and I love listening to the guy, that he is even saying when you're tattooing, breathe with your tattooing. It'll create, you know, so all of that hippy dippy, I think there's certainly a place for it.
Definitely. How do you know when a scar's ready to treat?
You know, first off, I have to be about a year plus old. You know, if someone comes to me with let's say a premature aged scar, that's where I'll have them start, you know, doing some light massage, putting some solution on it, just to start preparing it. But after a year or older, that's when I'll work with it.
Yeah.
But then again, is if my client parties like a rock star, smokes 3 packs of cigarettes a day, has no good, their water intake is bad.
Yeah.
What's their outcome going to look like? So it's not just the scar itself. You also have to see how their lifestyle is.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, nutrition wise, obviously with the scar, you mentioned about the oxygen. So it's all things about like healthy eating, I'm guessing, and more exercise is going to bring more oxygen to the scar.
Right. So when the skin is traumatized, the oxygen supply it's funny you brought that up. The oxygen supply is cut off.
Yeah.
So skin is traumatized. So anything that we can do to help, keep our skin looking good outside of a scar certainly helps. And I'm sure you've seen that too, where some of your clients have, healed miraculous. It's great healing. And the other people are like, why aren't they healing? And I think it's their lifestyle. It's, because we do our part, now they have to do their part.
Yeah. Yeah. Then it's essential aftercare, basically.
Absolutely. And in like, this is going to rewind back, but before they come in, I start having them increase their water intake.
Yeah.
Kind of find out what kind of vitamin regimen are they on? What do they eat? How's their sleeping patterns? It kind of all comes together.
Are there any contraindications then, like we mentioned earlier about the type of scars you can't treat? So in the UK, we don't treat keloids. Well, you can actually, that's a lie. When we do the training, we don't recommend it. If you work underneath a surgeon, not literally, but if you work with a surgeon
Sure.
and they recommend it for when I work, I've been doing some tests with keloid scarring, which have had great results, but I've already done 10 years worth of research because you've got to have that data.
That's right.
Yeah, so doing all of that, and I've had some great results, but in general, we don't do keloids in England. We do treat hypertrophic scarrings, and we don't treat hyperpigmented scars because obviously they're just going to go darker.
Yes. To me, at what level is it hyperpigmented? Is it all the way through all the dermal layer? Because hyperpigmented liver, spots, sun spots, those can be treated.
Yes, they can. You're right.
Because they're not all the way down through the derm. They're not all the way through the dermal layer.
Yeah.
So, I think by just breaking down that hyperpigmentation, which is just melanin, you can wipe that away.
So can you treat, this is interesting for me. So it's interesting for me as it is everyone else. So can you, and do you treat hyperpigmented scars with, say, I don't know, cryotherapy, laser? Can you do that?
I believe you can. I've worked on some sunspots and liver spots and had, I would say, 70% success. And that's pretty good. Is everyone 70%? No. But again, I work on the side of caution, as I'm sure you do. Let's see how it's going to heal, because again, that's the other element. So if I can work on this and you come back in, let's say, 6 weeks, and I see that there is some change to that hyperpigmented area, then I know that the body is prepared to heal itself. Because the body it's an amazing thing. It can heal itself if done properly.
So anyone out there who's thinking, like, I've had a few students or people in the past who have said, oh, my friend's got a scar, I'm going to give it a go. Maybe they do microblading or something. They think, oh, I'll give that a go. I mean, I'm not keen on it. Why do people need to have training in medical needling?
Oh gosh, let me get my list, right? I think just even in the permanent makeup society, in the community, there needs to be a greater understanding of what the skin is going to do, how it's going to react. I mean, my skin is different from yours than from his, and so on and so forth. I think, and I know, we could open up a huge tangent about, trainings and people's education levels, but this is a science. I think we always need to be educating ourselves, learning, reading, doing things like this where we're sharing knowledge, and that's how we become better educators, better clinicians, and give our clients a sense of, hey, these people care.
Yeah.
They're not just a paycheck walking through the door. dollar sign. You know, it's like we really genuinely care. So I think us on the medical side versus the cosmetic side, there is, you know, I think maybe we have a better understanding, and I would be great for all of us to have that understanding, because we are working under the epidermis. We are, you know, we're in there, you know, especially with scars. You know, it's very important because someone is putting their trust in us, and if that doesn't make a difference in our lives, you're in the wrong business, you know?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like somebody who just thinks, oh, I'll have a go. That's the wrong attitude to come to. It needs to be like, you need to study your craft. And like Paul Clark, I had an interview with him a while ago, and he said it's art and kind of science brought together. And then it gives you, you know, your medical or your scalp, in his case, the scalp side of things. But that's totally what it is. Like the amount of people think, also my biggest hate is a lot of people don't like skin camouflage, as in when you're implanting it into the skin. And I understand it because the people, in my opinion, people don't like it because they've not been taught it correctly. And I do believe that you can do, well, I know you can do more damage than good when you don't do it correctly and you have a go at trying to do it. I mean, I've been doing it for over 15 years. And yes, at the beginning, you know, it wasn't as good as it is now, shall we say. But I've learned from it, lots of different patients that we've had in. When skin camouflage is put into the skin, it might be the only solution. So you're trying to stimulate a scar, you've got a white scar, and you've tried your needling, and they haven't really got enough melanin in it. Or maybe it's not a scar, but maybe it's a skin graft. And the skin graft's too thick. You've flattened it down as much as you can, but the melanin's not returned. That is a time, I think, that it's now time to use skin camouflage. If I use skin camouflage, I'd always do a patch test first. I always leave it a long length of time. I always layer the color in, like you'd say with your areola, because you're wanting the longevity of it. Yeah. And so that's highly important. So I mosaic color in. I've got my own technique that I use, but it doesn't work for everyone. Not all of the scar work is for everyone, but if you've got all the options, like you mentioned at the start, so the manipulation, the prepping the skin before you work, possibly laser, possibly the light theory, they're all things with the scarring that makes you a good technician into an excellent technician.
And again, going back to learning about the skin, you know, like a melanocyte transfer. You know, when does a melanocyte produce melanin? You know, knowing UVA and UVB rays are different. And, you know, and knowing that there's a gal out here in the United States, she's on the East Coast of Florida. I think she's in Florida, Lynette Shear. Fantastic camouflager. I'm always hitting her up for like, hey, what do you think about this? You know, and we're on that level where we understand, you know, when you're done, and, you know, don't go beyond here. But she's a fantastic clinician. But it's just so important to work. You know, again, it's a scar. It's a heavy duty thing. So taking it easy, and, you know, what is it? Over deliver and under promise. You know, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's managing clients' expectations, because like you probably have it as well, Casey. Someone comes in and they're like, right, I want this scar gone. I need it gone tomorrow. And it's like, well, how long have you had it for? And they're like, oh, I've had it for 10 years. And you're like, okay, you know, I'm a technician. I'm not a magician.
Right, yeah. But those are the clients I like. I love the difficult, you know, clients where their expectations are through the roof, because I just feel like I have that personality where I can kind of bring them back down.
I'll send you mine.
Right.
As long as I get to come with them over to America.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm delivering one of my patients.
Done.
Casey, this has been absolutely wonderful, and I reckon we should do a couple more at some stage, get together and do more, because I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Absolutely, I would love it. Absolutely.
You're a man with lots of knowledge and lots of talents, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Casey White, thank you so much. That was on skin and scars and how to manage it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye, London. Casey. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.